Electric follow carts are usually very expensive, but at $1,400, the Gozo Follow significantly undercuts its competition on price. So what's the catch? Is the Gozo Follow an absolute bargain, or are the compromises going to drive you nuts? Now, Gozo are clearly confident in their trolley because they've sent this one half the way around the world for me to test out. And that's exactly what I've done over the last few rounds. That was disappointing. First hold of the day, third swing of the day. So I've really been putting this thing through its paces. The follow mode, the remote control mode, and even the manual handling mode. And I've got to say, in a lot of ways, this thing has really surprised me. See, I didn't want to go long because there's all the baby ducklings along the back. And that wouldn't have looked good on camera. So as soon as I got it out of the box and started using it out on the course, I could quickly see where some of those cost savings have been made to make this so aggressively priced. The overall design and look of the trolley is robust, I would call it. It's quite industrial. So I think really it's fair to say that whenever you look at the trolley or handle the trolley, you're always going to be reminded that this isn't necessarily a premium product. Oh, that needs to sit down. Okay, go on then, keep going. Oh, it's not terrible. The trolley's almost got kind of a prototype feel to it. I mean, the screen itself is telling you everything you really need to know, but it is quite basic looking. Go on then. Happy days, a par on the first hole. And when you look a little bit closer on the screen, you can actually see the glue around the edges of it. I've never seen that on any other electric trolley. I followed up with the team at Gozo, showing them the excess glue around the edge of the screen, and they explained to me that this is not the standard they expect their trolleys to leave the factory in. So hopefully this was just a one-off quality control issue. And from a design perspective, there's a few quirks with it as well. So you can see here, my bag is attached to the trolley in the way that it should be, but my wedges at the bottom of the bag are resting on the frame of the trolley. Now, that's less than ideal. Now, I don't want to overstate these things, but I think they're important to highlight because the follow mode actually works really, really well. Simply unlock the trolley here, and then you press the little button here, which is the follow button, and then it's going to find that remote, it's going to follow you along. And it's as simple as that. Now, what I like is the fact that you don't have to have a line of sight to the remote. You can put the remote in your pocket, and I found it's worked absolutely fine. Now, of course, when you have it in your pocket, you might accidentally knock the remote control, so you might not want to keep it in your pocket. It does come with a belt clip that you can attach to the remote if you want to use it. I don't really want to use it that way. So normally, I just keep the remote in my hand, just kind of have it down beside me, and that's it. We are walking in the fairway because somehow I've managed to hit 2 tee shots in a row that have gone in the fairway, and this is lovely. You are walking upright, you're walking free, you are enjoying your round of golf, maybe just that little bit more, because you're not hunched over a trolley pushing it along. Now, there are quirks and sometimes negatives that come with a follow trolley as well, but that's not specific to this one, that's with all follow trolleys, so I'm not necessarily going to cover that in this video. What I will say is, as a follow trolley, this works extremely well. Now, it is a pretty straightforward follow trolley. So what I mean by that is, if someone does walk in your way or there's an obstacle, well, the trolley's not going to stop. It's not going to avoid going in a bunker or anything like that. Now, there is a compatible app which you connect to the trolley, and then you can set how close you want it to follow you. Now, one time I have experienced the trolley zigzagging is when I've actually held my phone, maybe even this camera, next to it, because I think it then kind of interferes with the signal a little bit. I like the way it's very easy to switch from follow to the remote control. So right now it's following the remote that I've got in my hand, and then literally all I need to do is start steering it. So here we go. If I start steering it, I'm now using the remote control feature instead. Oh, as I try and run myself over. There we go. Now, I've got to admit, with the remote control, it doesn't work quite like other remotes that I've tried before. And it did take me a couple of rounds to get used to it. Certainly a couple of holes initially. So you might have to have a little patience with that. And I'll tell you why in 2 moments. But if you are finding this video helpful, then please tap that like and subscribe button. And if you are thinking about buying this trolley, then Gozo have actually provided me an exclusive £50 off code as well, which is Golf Guy Reviews. So I'll include the link and that code down in the description of this video. You don't have to buy it, you don't have to use it, but if you do, it helps support this channel. Now, using the remote, it's got a little joystick here instead of the kind of buttons that you might normally see. So with the remote, there are 2 ways that you can use it. The first way is that you just push forward on the remote and it will start speeding up. And actually, it won't stop speeding up. It will just keep going until it gets to its maximum. And then you can control it left and right while still pressing forwards, and it will keep going forwards. And then when you let go, it will stop. Now, to be honest, I don't really use that mode all that much. I use it if I just quickly need it to come to me, but actually what I prefer doing is double tapping the up button, because then that turns on the cruise control. So if you double tap, and now I don't even have to touch the remote and it's going to keep going. So all I have to worry about is turning it left and right. It's pretty straightforward. And if you want it to go faster, then all you do is tap the up button again, and it will go to the next cruise control setting. If you tap the up button again, it will go to the fastest cruise control setting. And you tap it again, and it will cycle back down to that slowest cruise control. I really quite like using it in that cruise control mode, because then all I've got to think about is steering it left and right. It's pretty simple and straightforward. And then when you want it to stop, you just press the lock button, it locks the wheels, and it stops the trolley, nice and easy. And that lock button is really quite important, because with a remote control trolley, the last thing that you want to do is actually accidentally turn it on with the remote in your pocket. And it's actually really easy to do. I've done it on 2 separate occasions, and it was really embarrassing. One time I was putting and I turned around and I had no idea where my trolley was. Turns out it was on the driving range adjacent to that green. The second time I was in a competition, and the trolley, I accidentally turned it on and it run over my opponent's bag. So it's really, really important to remember to use that lock button. And you put it in your pocket, and you're gonna have no worries in terms of accidentally setting this trolley off. Let's see if I can get this back in the fairway. Oh, I fin it to win it. Now the remote charges via USB-C. You've got a single LED here, and that changes from amber to red to green, but you don't really know how long you've got left if it's on red. It also has a vibrate function in it as well, so if you've locked the remote and you move it, then you know that it's locked. And also it will start vibrating if it's getting near the edges of how far you can control it. Now if it gets beyond how far you can control the remote, the trolley just stops. Now that range does seem to be a little bit less than other remote control trolleys I've tried in the past, but you've certainly got enough room to steer it around bunkers and around the green, not a problem whatsoever. Now there is another way to control the trolley, and that's on manual mode. So you've got a dial in the middle here, and all you do is double tap it to get it in manual mode, and a little hand button pops up there so you know, and then you turn the dial and away you go. You're controlling it like a normal handheld trolley. Interestingly, that dial, you turn it anti-clockwise to speed it up and clockwise to slow it down, which is the opposite to any electric trolley that I've ever tried. But that's a quirk, but you get used to it, he says as he slows it down. There we go. Now, you'll probably want to use this manual mode for when you're trying to negotiate tight paths in the car park, those kind of things. And it's easy enough to manipulate around. Now, if you don't want to use the electric trolley, you can stop it and then turn it off of the lock by tapping it once. There we go. And now you're just in push mode. So you can actually just push the trolley around like a normal electric trolley. Now you can still feel a bit of resistance from the wheels. I wouldn't want to push this trolley all the way around the course, but in a tight squeeze, you can definitely then kind of maneuver it and know that you're not going to fall into a lake or a ditch or a river or into another car or anything like that. One thing I would say when using it in manual mode though is that this handle here is adjustable and you kind of clip it in there like that, but it's not got the greatest strength. So if I want to lift the front wheels of the trolley up, it clips the handle down. A little bit worried that I'm going to break it, to be honest. Now I could tighten that handle via the bolt on the other side, but then it gets a little bit hard to actually secure the handle in place. So it's finding that balance really. So let's talk about on-course practicality. So the trolley comes with a 36-hole battery. Now the trolley itself only has 4 wheels, so it doesn't have an extra 5th wheel to stabilise it. And the reason why that is because the motors are actually located really low down kind of in the wheel hubs themselves. So all the weight of the trolley is nice and low. And I've got to say, I've been testing it here in the UK, so we tend to have hillier courses than in the US, and I haven't had any problems with this trolley tipping up or anything like that. Doesn't mean that it's impossible to do. I've tipped up plenty of remote control trolleys before in the past. If you want to do it, you can do it. But generally speaking, with the trolley following me, I haven't had any problems. And when you lock the trolley, I've got to say, the lock does pretty well. So if you're going to park it on an incline, you don't really have to worry about it rolling back downhill. It ain't going to go anywhere. Now the trolley itself is weather rated as IPX4. So that means that it's designed to withstand some light splashing, but it hasn't been tested, or at least approved, for anything more significant than that. Gozo have told me that they've tested it in heavy rain and they haven't had any problems whatsoever. And with the remote control, this hasn't got any weather resistance rating. So they don't really recommend using it in direct rain. The USB-C at the bottom here hasn't got a little plug or anything like that to protect it. So there's certainly trolleys out there with higher weather resistance ratings. Now the trolley folds down pretty simply. There's just 2 latches. So there's a latch for the handle, and then there's a latch for the lower part of the handle. And then when you fold it down, the trolley rear wheels kind of concertina in onto themselves, so it folds down pretty compact, but it's certainly not the most compact electric trolley or even follow trolley that I've ever tried. There's no handles or anything like that, so it might be a little bit awkward to get it in and out of your car's boot or trunk, as you say in the US. And when you're folding the trolley up, you can't take the wheels off because they're directly connected to each of the motors. You just kind of have to leave the trolley as it is. You can't make it any smaller than its footprint. And also that means then you can't put any dedicated winter wheels on it either. If you want winter wheels, you're going to have to wrap an external tread around these wheels. So would I recommend the Gozo Follow car? Well, I've got to say that if you want a follow trolley, but you don't like the idea of spending $2,500–3,000 US, then this is definitely worth your consideration. So long as you're comfortable with the design choices. In terms of the actual follow unit, kind of can't fault it. It's been just as good as any other follow trolley that I've ever tried. Now, the one thing I can't really test is durability. So I've used it for 3 or 4 rounds now, and I haven't had any problems with it. And Gozo provide a 2-year warranty, but I can't tell what it's going to be like in 2, 3, 4 years time. So if you're watching this video and you've got a Gozo trolley, then please let us know down in the comments how you've got on with it over the long term. Now, once I've made it, I'm going to leave a link to a video here where I run through which type of electric trolley is going to be right for you, whether that's a standard, a remote, or a follow. And if you are in the market for a follow electric trolley and you want a bit of a comparison, then I've included my full review of the Stuart Golf Q Follow right here. Now, if you found this video helpful, please tap the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps support the channel, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.